questions to ask throughout a campaign with the confidence rising. I told WDF don't switch, good times are coming on even deep diving. Fan cams, reactions, watch along, still the pride of London thriving. The Eagles of South, they flying. Keep your eyes on us, we ain't hiding.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are around the world. We are back and it's a wet, windy Tuesday night, but we thank you for joining us here on Eagle Eyed Football. It is the Premier League review show and I am back, obviously, and I've got my co-host, I've got my best friend in the whole wide world. I've got Nate here next to me. Nate, what a weekend of football that was. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. But best friend, I didn't sign that paperwork. I must get my lawyer to look at the paperwork. Best friend, you're ambitious. No, I'm good, mate. I'm good. You know yourself. Just enjoying the. I certainly enjoyed Easter Sunday. That was good. Easter Sunday was very, very good.
An Easter weekend to enjoy.
Yeah, but no, look, as you say, obviously, a lot of talking points, some controversy. A certain team got absolutely lubricated, which a lot of people enjoyed it, of a Reading persuasion. Particularly somebody who was at Ellen Road. I'm fairly certain he may have not made it out alive, but he was tweeting from his account, so he must have done something right. Big up to you, Steve. But yeah, mate, all good. All good.
Big up to the comment section from Ed, Rich, Neil, and JC. Right. Shall we get started? So, we start the weekend's action with our early kickoff off to Old Trafford, where it was a maximum points for Manchester's McTominay and Martial, all the M's. Man United taking a decent victory here to put pressure on in the top four race. Everton, obviously coming off of their recent games as well, they can't be expecting to win this with Man United having momentum and having the race to secure Champions League football. Sean Dyche obviously losing out there to Man United, but Scott McTominay continuing on from his great international form, he gets a first half goal in the 36th minute, and Anthony Martial scoring a 71st minute goal to see out the 3 points for Manchester United. First question, Nathan, is Manchester United, do we see them finishing strongly, third, fourth, or do we see them floundering in the next few 8 games coming up and maybe dropping here?
I think the pressure is on for them to finish in the top 4, because you look at the amount of money they invested in the squad. You look at the fact that they worked like anything to get Erik ten Hag in, and very slowly he managed to turn it around. He's already won a cup, having won the Carabao Cup. I've just got their next 4 fixtures here in front of me, and you would expect them to take minimum 10 points from those 4 fixtures, because they've got Nottingham Forest away on Sunday, then Spurs away, then Villa at home, and then Brighton away. Of those 4, you'd argue Spurs and Brighton would be tricky, but to be fair, Villa also could be a sticky one as well, because Villa have picked up massively in the last few weeks. So it's not a given that they'll take those 10 points I mentioned, but you would expect Manchester United to be taking minimum 10 out of 12 points from those 4 fixtures. Then you look a bit further down, they do have West Ham, Wolves, Bournemouth, and Fulham. They're all winnable from a Manchester United perspective. The only one there that you might think they could come up stuck against is on the last day against Fulham, because Fulham won't have any relegation fears to play for, so they'll just go all out for it. And if Fulham are still in European contention, they'll go all out for it. So it just depends on how Manchester United approach their remaining 8 fixtures. Not to mention that they still have to play Chelsea as well. So they've still got the Chelsea game to be decided. So but no, listen, solid win. Wins at home are pivotal in the Premier League, no matter where in the table you are. And Everton have proved to be a bit of a bogey team. of late. I remember they got smacked 4-0 under Ollie, I think it was, a few years ago. Or was it Jose? United fans, help us out. But, you know, you don't really want to read too much into this and be like, oh, United are back. They're in the top 4. They're guaranteed to a top 4. They lose any of the 4 first games they have there. All of a sudden, it could be, well, hold on a minute. Maybe their place isn't so secure. So it just depends how they take on from this. I mean, if they go to Forest and get a win there, yeah, they're on track. They beat Spurs. Again, same thing. So it all depends on how they approach these games and how they put these games away. Because if you don't win these games when the pressure's off, you know, when are you going to win games for that? The real test, as I said, will probably be the likes of Spurs, Chelsea, Villa, and Brighton. They're the 4 that you'd think they could come unstuck against. And Richard just confirmed it was Ollie. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the day we beat Arsenal, and there was a meltdown outside the Emirates. I remember that. That was a good day.
What we have to remember also, Manchester United do have other routes into European football. They are still in the FA Cup. They are still in the Europa League as well. So there are routes around their current run. So the second question, the last question before we move on is, do Manchester United prioritize those other routes and go for the other trophies and actually secure what would be, I think they're the only English club who can secure a treble. Yes, they are, because they've already won a trophy. So a treble, it's not the league title, obviously, but would that be job done for Eric Ten Hag's Manchester United?
Your bread and butter is the league. There's more money from getting into it in the league. So realistically, it will look great on his CV if he can secure an FA Cup, a League Cup, and a Europa League in his first season. Naturally, that is a massive draw to winning a treble. But ask any Manchester United fan, they want to finish as high in the league as possible. JC makes a very valid point there with Casemiro. But no, look, as you say, I mean, look, you know, they do have more than one avenue into the Champions League, but realistically, their bread and butter should be the Premier League. Because if they don't finish in the top 4 and win a treble, they won a treble, but they've let other teams that were nowhere near the top 4 finish in the top 4 ahead of them. That, for me, would be a bit of a cop-out. So, look, a treble is a treble. You don't knock them winning 3 trophies in one season, because not many teams, if any, can do it. And the last team to do it, I think, was City winning the domestic treble, which no team had ever done before. But
that's right.
Realistically, if you offered a Manchester United fan top 4 and just the League Cup, they might not be happy with it, but they'd take it. Offer them no top 4, but a treble, they'd take it, but they're thinking, how did we not secure top 4? We've got a squad good enough. So it depends on which kind of Manchester United fan you'd speak to. Personally, I'm indifferent to to what happens to them.
Fair enough. We'll move on from Manchester into Birmingham. Homie was watching too much WrestleMania against Palace. I will say nothing for that one. We'll move to Aston Villa. 4 wins in a row. 4 in a row for Aston Villa as they get 3 points as they score 2 goals against Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest now without a win in 9 games. Alarm bells starting to ring there for Forest. Ollie Watkins back on the score sheet again with a 95th minute winner. Late goal there for him. But Bertrand Traore scoring in the 48th minute. So a second half to remember there for Aston Villa. Villa obviously doing really, really well under Unai Emery. I'm sure Martin Leonard, friend of the channel, would certainly agree with that. Villa have entered late into this conversation of who is going to get these last few European places. They've entered the conversation now. Chelsea obviously having him there has helped them. But the question is, do they have the team at the moment to go on for this? Their style of play has been working for them as of late. Their results have obviously gone their way. But is it too little too late?
Again, as I mentioned, Manchester United, it depends when you look at their remaining fixtures. So they've got Newcastle at home. That's a pretty nasty one because the two clubs don't like each other. Well, the fan bases don't like each other, so there's going to be a bit of needle in that. Brentford away, you could argue it's a winnable game. Villa are looking really good at the moment, so they'd expect to be confident going into that. Fulham at home, a European contending rival, that could go either way. As I mentioned, they've still got to play Man United, so they've still got to go to Old Trafford, but they've also still got to play Spurs, Liverpool, and Brighton. So they've got teams in and around them that if the results don't go their way, they're going to drop down the table. Now, you'd like to think if they can beat the likes of, for example, Brentford, Wolves, arguably Fulham and Newcastle, that
we'll just let JC and Neil just talk here.
You lads work away in the comments there. But like I was saying, you'd really hope if you're a Villa fan, and Martin can back us up here if he wants to jump in here, they need to win minimum 4 or 5 of these last 8 games to be within a realistic shout of getting into Europe. Do they have the squad for it? You'd like to think so, because the Villa owners have spent massively on their squad. So it's not a case of they haven't spent money. Bear in mind, they got 100 million off Grealish that they spent well on a lot of new faces to replace him. But again, it all gets his team playing. If they play to their strengths and they get enough points on the board, they've got every chance. But like any team, if they mess it up, if one result goes against them, it can all come unraveling like a big ball of yarn.
Indeed, it can. So it's a question of continuing on this momentum for Aston Villa. Nottingham Forest, on the other hand, so before this game, before the weekend, it was reported that the Forest owner had come out and said that Steve Cooper's job is not in danger. He believes in Cooper and wants to keep him in for the moment. Whether that's going to continue on next season, we will see. But at the moment, it does certainly seem like alarm bells are maybe starting to ring off at the City ground. Nate will be back in a second. He just had to go and do something there. He's back again. So yeah, a tale of two spectrums there for Aston Villa. We're going to head into the capital city now for one of the more exciting games of the weekend here. Brentford 1, Newcastle United 2. Now, I watched this back a couple of times just to actually take in all the results for this one. Ivan Toney has not missed a penalty since 2018. That's incredible. But first things first, the man knows how to put it away when it comes to the penalties. So good on him for that. But then that streak ends because he gets a penalty and it is very, very lackadaisical. It's very poor, which you would not expect from Ivan Toney. He does put it away eventually with a second penalty, which was awarded under very, very controversial circumstances, in my opinion. Don't think this was a penalty for Brentford, but they went into the break 1-0 up. They'll be happy about that. But in the second half, it all goes down. It goes downhill from there with an unfortunate own goal from David Raya. It's an unlucky bounce, much like the own goal conceded last week at Selhurst Park. Comes off the back of the goalkeeper's leg. That took a while to clock that one. That's a very smart comment there from JC. So highlight that one.
Well played, JC. Well played.
Well played indeed from him. Alexander Isak with a cracking goal to put the Toon Army back into the lead, to complete the comeback. The Newcastle fans in fine voice as they head down from Newcastle into London. Newcastle really, really look like the team to be at the moment. Obviously, in terms of taking us outside of the title race.
Oh, that was so bad, Nicky. The team
Thank
to
you.
be. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Thank you. I'm here all week, guys. I'm here all week. That's why you guys come here. That's why you guys watch. You watch it for my brilliant sense of humor.
Self reassess my contract on this show.
just purely because of me.
Yep, pretty much.
So yeah, the Toonami who sting the bees. Great title there. Newcastle, yeah, the team to beat as well. All the momentum moving in with them as they continue chasing that 4th place or even 3rd place. You never know. You never know. 2 teams that aren't going to be obviously relegated. 2 teams that are chasing different stages of European football. Obviously, Newcastle could very well be playing Champions League football next season. Brentford, who could very well still steal 5th from outside of the teams in and around them. Not much else to say, to be honest. 2 teams that are very, very good on their day, but obviously one of them came out the better here. We're going to stay in London for the next game. It's a London derby. And this was very, very critical for David Moyes' West Ham. The news that this game is a make or break for him. He needed to win this game. This was a must-win game, but he didn't win it under his own team. Obviously, Harrison Reed's own goal eases the pressure off of him. It's 3 points for West Ham. They are still very much in that danger zone, but it is pressure off. But at least as this weekend goes.
I would not want to be David Moyes. Their remaining fixtures are grim.
They are indeed grim. I've had a look at them, and it's not great. They have got a horrific run. Nate,
Arsenal,
take us through.
Bournemouth.
Yep.
So Arsenal at home, then Bournemouth away, Liverpool at home. They've got Palace away, City away, Man United at home, Brentford away, Leeds at home, and Leicester away on the final day.
So Nate, the question I will ask you is, well, 2 questions. It's a two-pronged question. One, David Moyes, does he go now, like today? Should West Ham have sacked him before this game?
No.
Okay.
Only because if you sack a manager, you're not guaranteed to get the so-called new manager bounce. Bear in mind, if you bring someone in now, it's purely an interim.
Yes, of course. We'll talk about the new manager bounce.
Don't get me wrong. Having sacked Patrick Vieira, everybody was thinking just give it to Vieira to the end of the season. I was in that camp for a while ago, but you look at those remaining fixtures, and there aren't a lot of games where you would say you'd back West Ham to win those games. The only ones you think they might stand a fighting chance of winning is arguably Bournemouth against us, being Palace, Brentford away, and Leeds at home, possibly even Leicester. But having to face Man United, Liverpool, City, and Arsenal, yeah. Of their remaining 8 fixtures, 4 of them are pretty much wrote off unless West Ham do a madness. And the last time West Ham did a madness, Carlos Tevez played for them. That shows you how long ago that was. But you know what I mean. Nobody's really expecting West Ham to get themselves out of this when they've been down in that relegation mire the majority of the season.
Of course. My second question for you is this. Given their running, do they go down? Obviously, before you answer, obviously it does count on fixtures in and around them. They get with this running, they're going to have to rely on results going their way with other fixtures because, as you said, 4 of those games write-offs.
Well, again,
Do they
look,
go down?
there's a factor of they have to win their games and they have to hope the results go their way. But there's also a factor of how badly do West Ham want to stay in the Premier League, because they can't be in that stadium in the Championship, because it would just be really, really uncomfortable to be out of the Premier League for a year with that massive stadium hanging over their head like a proverbial white elephant. Bear in mind, the last time I checked, Millwall are in the playoffs. If Millwall come up the season, West Ham go down, there's going to be untold anger from the West Ham fans, because that's their biggest game of the season they're missing out on. So just think about it. The potential for West Ham to be relegated on this season, that Millwall get up to the Premier League, which, by the way, I don't want. I would love it to happen, but I'm happy to see Millwall forever suffer in the Championship. But you have to look at it from the West Ham side of things. They cannot afford to drop into the Championship with a 60,000 seater stadium, because even though West Ham have got a very good following in London, it's very hard to sell games in the second tier of English football. Because with all due respect, you'd rather go to Man United at home than Preston North End at home. No disrespect to any Preston North End fans that might be watching. But you see my point. The selling point of a club of an opposition is based on who you're playing and when you're playing. If you're playing Preston at home on a Tuesday night in December, I don't see many people wanting to go to watch Preston in the middle of December. So
Yeah, right.
It's on West Ham really to dig themselves out of this, and they've got players there that can do it. Lanzini, Fornals, Antonio, Benrahma. There's players there that can do it, but for whatever reason, West Ham have just continuously done their best impression of a team that's looking to either get the manager sacked or sail head first into the Championship. Now, as long as it's them, not us, I don't care what happens to them. Just to be totally selfish.
We'll address some comments here. After saying, ain't it crazy? Palace have two of the best strikers in the league. Wouldn't go that far.
One striker is good enough for the Premier League. No prizes as to who I'm referring to.
West Ham's running is nuts, hence why the Fulham win is massive, says Rich. Big up Brush in the chat. Like, share, and sub. Please do. Also, Forest and Leicester, Southampton go down. City win the title. Newcastle finish fourth. An interesting opinion there. An interesting one there. Neil, big up the chairman, says very late to sack a manager now. Yeah, it does look like that it is going to be David Moyes for the rest of the season. JC, maybe if they stopped copying us when scouting, they would be all right. Is it Mr. Bean settings? Is that Mr. Bean settings? Wow.
No, it's Thunder Road. It's Thunder Road.
Oh, I know. I'll bring it up. Big up Bobby in the chat as well.
Yeah, big up Bobby.
After again saying playoffs this year most likely to be Luton, Middlesbrough, Millwall, and one of either Coventry, Preston North End, Blackburn Rovers, or Norwich City. Again, interesting. I would like to see out of the four that there, give it to Blackburn in the playoffs, and then that creates a very, very interesting opportunity for Luton and Millwall, who have not had the opportunity of coming up for a very, very long time. And I'm sick and tired of seeing Norwich in the Premier League. Bin Norwich. I'm sick and tired of seeing green and yellow and where are you? Go away. I would like to see either Luton or Millwall come up. I'm not going to lie. I'm saying that as a Palace fan. Seeing Millwall up, because that's going to be fun. Because of this comment by Thunder Road. Rooting for Millwall to be promoted. South Bermondsey Station will have its own police station. Oh, dear.
Pretty much every station around the Den will have to have its own police station.
Oh dear. I bet the Met Police have just been like, please, no, Millwall, please don't do it. Louis Tidy as well, friend of the channel. Big up to yourself as well. Right. Moving on to another team that looking like they're going to go down. Leicester City is at the end of the line. Have they reached the end? Has their train pulled into the station, or are all their passengers getting off because they lose yet again This time to a Philip Billing goal, and Bournemouth get another critical win away from home. Obviously, the news is that Jesse Marsh turned down the job to take over, and now it does look like it's Dean Smith. I think.
Yeah, he's been appointed.
Oh, he has been appointed.
Yeah, it's him on an interim basis, I think.
Okay, I think hay fever's getting the best of my co-host there. Dean Smith
it's the back end of a cold.
That's the back end of a cold. Dean Smith, after being rejected by Potter and Marsh, there says JC. So, Nate, a couple of years ago, almost coming on nearly 10 years ago now, Leicester pulled off the greatest title win of all time. Now it does look like it's the end for Leicester. It's sayonara for Leicester. What do Leicester have to do to survive? Obviously, they need to win games, but do you see that Dean Smith will keep them up? Or is it a question of this is just end of the line, rest in peace?
Look, I've said it for the other teams that in and around that. You're looking at that game just gone. You need to be winning that, especially if you're at home, as they were. And you look at how they fared against teams in and around them at home this season, which, of course, was also Crystal Palace. They didn't beat us at home. They drew 0-0 at the King Power. We were, myself, Rich, and JC and Dan were there for that. That was a horrendous game of football, all things said. Oh, good Lord. Louis. Less of that, yeah? Blooming heck. But, look, in all seriousness, you look at a result like that on the surface, losing 1-0 at home, it's not the end of the world, but they can't buy a win. Like, bear in mind, they took the lead at Selhurst Park against a team that hadn't scored a goal, hadn't even got a win in 2023, and somehow managed to lose it. Now, obviously, we're delighted on having been on the right end of that result, but if you can't beat a team that hasn't won in 2023 and you follow that up with yet another defeat straight after that, you're thinking, hold on a minute, was Rodgers really the problem? It's more often than not, it's the player culture at the club where the players think, oh, we don't need to worry about it. It's all good. We still get paid. So it all depends on how badly Leicester's players want to keep their Premier League contracts. But to address Neil's point there about Bournemouth have turned the corner, in theory, you could argue they have, but if they mess up their next result, all of a sudden it's all that hard work done, come back for nothing. Same with Palace. If Palace lose their next game, which, let's be fair, it's Palace, it's possible, everybody's going to think, oh, but wait a minute, we won our last 2 games. But you're not guaranteed to win your third unless you actually go out and win the game. This is the problem that a lot of teams down there have, is that they build up a good head of steam where they get 1 win or 2 wins in a row, then they throw it away in the third game. Now, please God, that doesn't happen on Saturday, but you know what I'm saying. So with Leicester, Nicky, to bring it back to your point, Leicester, it's not too late for them to stay up, but they need a miracle. They need a miracle. And we're talking the way Watford beat them in the playoffs 10 years ago this year. That kind of miracle where it looked like it was all for the world that Leicester were going to do it. They missed the penalty and Watford go at the other end and score. They need that kind of miracle where all the chips are against them and they somehow manage to claw it back. But I think Leicester are doomed. So Leicester would be, for me, one of those teams that are in very big danger of going down, which when you think about it, they'd be only the second team to win the Premier League and be relegated since 2012, because Blackburn were the first.
Wow, you pulled that stat. Wow, that's a great stat there. Thank you very much for that one. I didn't even know that.
I mean, obviously, I know City have won a few, but they weren't Premier League winners when they last got relegated. But Blackburn were the first to have won the Premier League and then got relegated. Okay, granted, a number of years after they'd won it, but they were still a Premier League winning side and got relegated. Yeah. And Leicester would be the second behind them.
This question here from Earth Extremities: do you think there will be a new manager bounce at Leicester, which might cause a shock result against Manchester City on Saturday? No. I think Leicester fans need to prepare themselves for what is going to be horrific. Obviously, Man City are playing Bayern Munich tonight, right now, so it's going to create a switch around for Man City's lineup. But no. Whether or not they'll go down, I think it's a wait and see. Alpha, they're just saying nope. To that, Louis says that Leeds result is making me too confident for Saturday, and someone really
This
doesn't
is
like
why our fan
Southampton.
base don't deserve nice things.
Oh God, you guys are jinxing us already, and we're still like 4 days away from the game. Right, we're gonna move on into a game that is, oh boy, right. I've called this one. As you know, I'm a wrestling fan, so I've called this one the Tottenham Screwjob. Just quickly before, here's a stat: all teams in the Premier League have scored a bicycle kick in the league, apart from Palace. I think Wilfred Zaha try and score a bicycle kick before he got injured against Leicester? Or was that the game previous before that? I can't remember. I know he tried.
I think it was
Mateta,
actually.
Yeah.
Which had that happened and it scored, we wouldn't have heard the end of it because James would never let us forget it.
Oh no, of course not. But the Tottenham Screwjob. So, oh boy, this one is conflicting result, because as a Palace fan, I'm more than happy about this. But speaking from a journalistic, unbiased point of view, ooh.
Now, forget being impartial. Forget trying to play devil's advocate. They got exactly what we needed to see, because it's about time VAR put them in their place. Sure, they got screwed over, but hey, that's football for you. Did Tottenham deserve it? Absolutely not. Do I care? Absolutely not. They got exactly what they deserve. Let's move on.
Right. We need to review it, so I'll run through quickly. So
now review's done. Move on.
I can't. So Heung-min Son.
Christ, we'll be here till next week then. Come on, mate. Get a move on.
We won't. Heung-min Son scores a stunning strike to put his team in the lead. Great strike from Son. Definitely will be seen as goal of the month, I think. Then the controversy starts, because before the game, Stellini.
There's no such thing as the controversy, folks. Brighton got exactly what they deserved. We'll move.
So, De Zerbi and Stellini already going at it before the game even starts. They then get sent off later on in the game for VAR decisions that went against Brighton. Yeah, pretty much. I do just want to highlight, because this was handbags, absolute handbags. So Stellini gets sent off. De Zerbi then gets sent off. It's De Zerbi gets sent off, and then Stellini, who's done nothing, he's just standing there. He gets sent off for not, handling his touchline staff. Lewis Dunk would score from a corner, very, very well headed in. No one was on him. I'm sorry, but you have to mark Lewis Dunk, especially when it comes to set pieces. He will score in easy header. He does so here. Harry Kane then follows up in the second half with a 79th minute goal, and it ends 2-1. Brighton, who did get an apology from the referee board, doesn't really do much though, does it? So, but yeah, there we go. Right. Let's talk about yet another funny result that made me absolutely crease. Oh dear, Mateus Nunes. Thank you for this. Right, he scores a brilliant volley to get the only goal that sees Wolves win, a critical win for them as they look to try and escape falling into the abyss that is the relegation battle. Chelsea, however, they are going strength to strength. So you hire back Frank Lampard as your caretaker manager. Balmy decision anyway. Balmy. You think he's going to keep you up? It's hilarious. It's hilarious. But yeah, it's a funny old game for Chelsea. Chelsea, who just did not turn up for this one. This was interesting. Now, obviously, it's going to take a while for Chelsea to get back, but I don't understand the decision to bring Frank Lampard in. Obviously, he's a caretaker role, so he's only in it for the end of the season. But wow. JC doing his Frank Lampard impression in the chat there. Yeah, Frank Lampard, balmy decision. Mateus Nunes scores a great goal. Not much more else to say about that, except one thing. This is a conversation that's not been had in a while. Okay, I don't want to have Conor Gallagher at Palace if this is the Conor Gallagher that is playing now. That was atrocious by him in this game. He was absolutely dismal. Right. Not much else to say about that. Well done, Wolves. Commiserations, Chelsea. Question for you, Nathan. Who is going to stop Erling Haaland? 30 Premier League goals with 8 games to go. That record is going. We know it's gone. He's only got to get 3 more. He's probably going to get them against Leicester, knowing him. Southampton 1, Manchester City 4. Cracking result here. Pretty much bread and butter when it comes to Man City. Has Nate been put on slow motion? Yeah, it's the weather. It's because you're here, Matt. It's because you're here. Go away. 30 goals. The timeline for this one is obviously Haaland scores, cracking one bicycle kick here for him. Jack Grealish gets a 58th minute goal. Alvarez puts it away from a penalty, but not before Mara does get a consolation goal for Southampton. Nate, how many goals is Erling Haaland going to get in this season? Put a number on it.
Let's see who they still have to play. That would be a good marker as to see how many goals he could score.
Okay. They've got Leicester next.
Yeah, then Arsenal. That's a massive game. Fulham, then West Ham, then Leeds, then Everton, and then Chelsea, and then Brentford final day away. And also they've still got to play Brighton as well. So you could possibly 40 plus.
This is
possibly touching 50, because we know how clinical he is at any point. So I think 40 to 45 possibly, but I don't necessarily think it'll be 5 a game. It could be 3 and 2 or 2 and 1 or whatever it is. So, but bearing in mind that they do have a lot of games where you'd expect him to be getting good numbers in, yeah, I think he's close to getting that record. And if he does, that'll be mad. But then again, City have got that much quality in their squad. It doesn't need to say just Erling Haaland. They may not even need him at times. That's how good City are. But yeah, I'm gonna say possibly. Yeah, I'm gonna say 40.
You're going to say 40. Alpha says he will go for 33, just one more of the record. Matt says 38, and JC says 36. I think I'll play the middle ground there. I'll say 35. I think 35.
Oh,
because
of course, Nicky sits on the fence. What a shock.
Of course. Hey. I'm going to support my boy, yeah? I will support my boy. Former Dortmund. Come on. But yeah, 35. Because obviously he's going to be needed for the Champions League. And let's see how well he does tonight. Yeah, Southampton, not much else to say about them, to be honest. Right.
That's what you say about Southampton. They're shite. That's what you got to say.
Shall we put a smile on Nathan's face, guys? I think we shall. Nathan,
Yeah.
I'm going to go to you for this one. It's a high five for Palace. It's an absolute lubrication, as you are well known for saying. So I'm going to ask the questions because you were obviously on the review for this one. So guys, please do go ahead and watch the Leeds United versus Crystal Palace review here on the channel. With
Rich, that is quality.
You know what the worst thing is? I can't time him out. I can't time him out on the comments section. Just quickly, Haaland seems easy to play out of the game. If City get knocked out by Bayern, then Haaland will batter every team they play in the league. I'm just getting cooked in the comments. Cooked in the comments, I am.
Yep. Pretty much.
Thunderbird says, when is JC back from Tenerife? And Alpha says City will win the Champions League. Right. Anyway, enough about other teams. Let's talk about the only team that matters in the Premier League, in the whole wide world, in fact. Let's talk about Crystal Palace, Nathan. So,
why was I not shocked that that was Bamford's third goal this season? Why was I not shocked that he scored that?
And it was against us, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It would be against us, wouldn't it? It's the old player.
This is a guy who was more interested in fixing his hair when he played for us on loan from Chelsea than putting the ball in the net. And when he did finally put the ball in the net, he was offside. I mean, it's just beggars belief. But credit to him, it's awful defending from us. Don't know what Tyrick Mitchell was doing, letting him have that much space in the box. Smacks it cleanly into the back of the net. And you're thinking, this is going to go really bad. Bearing in mind, we hadn't won there for 17 years until this result. So you're looking at it thinking, we don't do well at this ground. So this could be a humiliation if we're not careful. But a bit of a lucky bounce of the ball. Great deflection. Great assist of Jeffrey Schlupp. Gives us an equaliser through Mark Gay. Meslier decided to go completely full Hennessy and not try catch the ball. Thanks for that, Meslier. Well done. And at 1-1, you're thinking, okay, that's not bad. That's decent. And then the second half kicked off. And I'm sat there watching it in the pub thinking, have I flicked on El Clasico? Because it was Barcelona ripping Real Madrid, not one, not two, not three, but 4 backsides. They got shredded. And if Elise had put that chance away, it would have been 6. So I'm thinking in my head, I know for a fact Steve might have to change his underwear about 6 different times watching Palace play like this. And I know for a fact a friend of mine who's a Leeds fan now owes me €200 because he bet me that Leeds would do the double over Palace. And I took him on the reverse end of the bet and said, yeah, I think it'd be the other way around, mate. So I'm €200 heavier in pocket. But I've got to say, Eze and Elise, that was pornographic, man. That was filthy what they were doing on that pitch. That was crazy. And as for Jordan Ayew, he can score.
Perfect timing there to highlight that.
Who can actually?
He scored a brace.
His first ever Premier League brace. I mean, there's levels to being crap. And then there's Jordan Ayew scoring twice against you levels of crap. Leeds deserve relegation. Leeds deserve relegation for this result alone. Bearing in mind, in both fixtures this season, they took the lead in both games. That is criminal. But to bring it back to the Palace side of things, it felt good just snotting a team for once, because usually we're on the receiving end of getting beat down.
And it does seem that Roy Hodgson does love a goal fest against Leeds United. This has happened before, obviously, at Selhurst Park. He loves beating Leeds for some reason.
He does. You know what? Just before we jump out of this Palace Leeds game, those 3 Leeds fans that clipped us about a year ago, how are you lads feeling right now? Because karma's a bitch, innit?
So to explain that one, I got clipped by some Leeds fans when I think it was last season, wasn't it?
Rafinha last minute penalty.
Yeah. So yeah, it does seem like Rich and Nate are trying to fight my corner. I'm more than happy just to stand back and just smile.
No, we're fighting your corner because this is a team effort. They take a shot at you, it's a shot at us, and there's no taking shots at the team, bro.
All I'm saying is I'm watching Palace go up the table. I'm watching Leeds go down the table.
No, I hear that. I hear that. But you got to remember, the way they were talking was disrespect. And I'm not having it. Not on my watch. They can hold that.
Good time to bring up the UK Pats comment here. Big up the head of the Charity Professional Football Club movement and Leeds' best fan. That's good timing to bring up that comment. So thank you.
Now, hold on a minute. How's he getting confused with Steve? You're not Steve. Pat, I'm disappointed in you. That was poor, Pat. You need to be doing better than that.
He also says that the Easter Bunny is a Palace fan. He certainly does seem like it. And Rich really does want me to put them in the oven and cook them.
Do it. You deserve it, bro. Come on, you deserve it.
All I'm saying is this. Okay, I will say this. You lot enjoy playing subpar teams that are coming up from League One. Enjoy playing Sheffield Wednesday next season. I'm going to enjoy going to the Etihad, going to Old Trafford, going to St James's Park. I'm going to be enjoying my Premier League crest on my sleeve. You lot enjoy your midweek games against teams that are like from the God knows where.
No.
Thank you, Rich.
You need to do a reaction. No, listen, I found the clip already. I am going to clip bits for you. You need to do a reaction video. Those Leeds, 1 second, darling, 1 second. Those Leeds fans need to hold corn because the disrespect last season was mad. No, I'm not having it. Listen, the difference your blue hair. No, they were moving too reckless. Allow it. Yeah. You need to hold. No.
Trust me. Trust me. Yes, bruv. Yes. He's right. He's right, bruv. You're sat there acting all nice about it, bro. They went personal. Like that. It's one thing to make it about the game, but they went personal, Nicky. You need to be running them on that, bro. He's right.
That was the angriest of. Wow.
You got to remember, when they attack you, it's an attack on all of us. So, we're not going to take that line down. Are you mad?
Oh, my God. That was hilarious. Oh, that's making best moments. That's making best moments, man.
Big up to Rich for that unannounced entrance.
Oh, my God. Someone timestamp that, please.
By the way, Statman Dan, if you're watching, where is the vlog, bro? We need the vlog from the Leeds game because, we're waiting, innit? It's like Edward tapping his watch in the game.
I do just want to highlight before we go on to the next result.
Now you see that? You see that? You said your family. He took that personally. Imagine how I felt. You know what I'm saying? Nah, you don't go for the team like that, bro.
Anyway, Michael Elise. I think he's the first player under the age of 22 who got a hat trick of assists.
Yeah, first Premier League player since Opta started recording those stats under the age of 21 to under the age of 22 to get a hat trick of assists in a Premier League game from open play.
There we go.
£8 million. £8 million. Dougie Friedman, we salute you.
Thanks, Reading. Enjoy League One. Bye, Reading. Anyway. So our last game on this weekend, Liverpool come back across the Gunners 2-0 up and they let it go. Oh dear indeed. So this has blown the title race wide open because now a lot of people are thinking this is the banana skin result that Man City were hoping that Arsenal would get, and the door was just creeped open a little bit more for Manchester City to slip in and win the title from out of nowhere. Before this game, so I'm just trying to figure out my notes of this one inside my head. Jurgen Klopp came out in an interview with Sky Sports and said, it is actually my fault for the poor results this season, the poor league position this season as well. Is it his fault, though? Is it all his fault then, Nate? Or is Jurgen Klopp kind of just been like, let me take the blame off the players here?
He's given the yes man answer. Towards any Liverpool fan, like we had Matt Callum and Drift, we'd Callum from Coppish on for the Liverpool preview.
Mm-hmm.
They all know who's responsible for why they are where they are. They haven't been backed the way they want Klopp to be backed. And you know, as a Dortmund fan, if you back someone like Klopp, and you give him money to work on signing players that will improve the squad over time. Yeah. So everyone's saying Liverpool should go for Bellingham, but let's say Liverpool get Bellingham from Birmingham City and give him time to develop. Klopp can develop a player like that. Obviously, Dortmund is a breeding ground for developing great players, so fair play to Dortmund for snapping them up when they did. But Liverpool still have to dig up 45 million years old James Milner, the fossil that he is, although he's a fantastic testament to how long of a career he's had. They still got to bring up James Milner and Jordan Henderson in 2023.
That's crazy.
That's like us bringing back Sean Derry, Stern John, and Alan Lee to play for us right now. You need to move on from having players that did well for you in the past, but you need to keep evolving as a squad. Bearing in mind, Liverpool still have not solved the Mane issue. Diaz, great player, but he's not levels to Mane. Let's be clear about that. Obviously, as Palace fans, we were tormented by that guy, but reality is they haven't replaced Mane to the extent where they're not missing him. They are missing him. Mane wins them that game yesterday. A lot of the points they dropped this season, Mane would win them those games. Look back to when they played us at Anfield and at Selhurst Park. He'd score the winning goal in both of those games. I don't like saying it, but it's reality. Just when Liverpool needs someone to bail them out of a draw and get them the win, he was that guy. Salah's not doing it. Trent, for the first time in ages, looked like he was bothered. Andy Robertson, I think, has just had his face broken in half by an elbow. Although last time I checked, he was okay. I mean, theatrics.
Yeah, that is something I do want to. So Roy Keane called him a baby, rightfully damn well so, Roy, for calling him a baby, because what on earth? Like the assistant referee in question, not only has he like stood down from his duties, he's being investigated, all that kind of stuff. And they're like, what is going on? But yeah.
But just quickly touching on Arsenal, this is not the game where they could bottle the league, but this was the body blow to their hopes because they've got City next. And everyone knows if City thrash them at the Etihad, all that momentum swings back City's way. Arsenal have gotten out of jail a few times in the last couple of months where they haven't been amazing, they haven't been brilliant, but they've been effective. On Sunday, that game was there for them to win, and they didn't. They allowed Liverpool back in the game. And at Anfield, that is the worst mistake anyone can make. If you're gifting Liverpool opportunities to get back in the game, you've only got yourself to blame for not winning the game. And we found out the hard way when Nunes got sent off. All we had to do was kill the game off at 2-0, get it to 2-0, and that Diaz goal would mean nothing. So again, you see what I'm saying? If you're in the lead at Anfield, especially 2-0 up at Anfield, you need to get that third goal, and that way their two goals mean nothing. So Arsenal have themselves to blame for Liverpool getting back into it, because they're going to look at this game and say, well, that was literally the game that gave City belief that they could catch Arsenal. So now it's on Arsenal now to not slip up again. And let's be fair, we've seen it happen. We've seen Liverpool get streets ahead of City with games to go. And all it takes is one slip up.
Yeah.
Even if it's the slightest chores, and City just run the points out from you. So
yeah, and not to mention, as you said, they still have yet to face them at the end of the month. And then straight after that, they've got to play Chelsea. So the title is going to be decided very, very soon. If Arsenal can just pick themselves up, dust themselves off, and get straight back to winning ways, they face West Ham next on the weekend. That is a game where if you're in the predictions league, you will see that Nate has actually gone with an absolute demolition job. He's gone 5-0.
I've said lubrication because we need to see Arsenal go full force and draw back the ground, because if they don't, again, who can they blame? They can't blame City. They've got to blame themselves. This game just gone was their chance to show people we're not letting the ground slip. Sorry, Stevie G.
But yeah, it's this is now proving to be one of the most exciting title races, because it's now a question of Man City are that monster coming over the hill. To reference the Automatic song. Yeah. The just a couple more comments here. Obviously with the lino, Daddy and the Don saying that's mental with the assistant ref. People saying that he should lose his job, but Mitrovic can still play after the ban, even though Robbo started the confrontation. Rich Returns also saying the lino should not lose his job. Just take a fine for both the lino and the ref and move on. And the chairman saying spot on, Rich, but Robertson is a massive. It's before Watershed, so I won't say it. But yes, I do agree with you there, Neil. Right. Before we move on to our favourite segment, which is Baller and Brick of the Week, let's have a look at the league table, which I will get here. Give me a second. There we go. So, Nathan, would you take us through first up to 10th, or down to 10th?
Yeah, no problem. So, Arsenal, top of the league, 6 points clear of Manchester City. Although City do have a game in hand on Arsenal. Newcastle and Manchester United also have a game in hand on Arsenal. So, there is still opportunities for that gap to narrow even more if you're a Manchester City fan. Then it's Tottenham in 5th, Villa in 6th, Brighton, Liverpool, Brentford, and Fulham making up the top 10. And then as we go down to 11th through 12th, it's what was that formation Todd quoted to somebody? 4-4-3 or 4-4, something like that. It's just this is how you know some people just don't need to be buying football clubs, because Chelsea are where they are for this exact reason, and I'm living for it. But take it away, Nicky.
I'd never thought I'd be saying that Chelsea are 11th, but I'm going to enjoy this moment by saying Chelsea are 11th.
And only 6 points ahead of
in 11th place.
6 points ahead of Palace,
Yes,
and we only won 2 games in 2023, people.
So just below them, obviously 6 points below them is Crystal Palace. An interesting thing here is, if you notice, we are 6 points off of Chelsea and 6 points off of 18th. We're sitting happy, guys. Take a breather, but let's continue on. Wolverhampton Wanderers just below us in 13th after their win. They go up to 13th. West Ham also getting a win, and Bournemouth getting a win, meaning that they move up into 14th and 15th respectively, but still on level points. Obviously, the goal difference will play a huge part in the latter stage of the season as we close up. Leeds dropping down, as well as Everton and Forest into the danger zone here. Forest, their goal difference has not helped them. The worst in the league overall. They go in to the relegation spot as a result. Leicester and Southampton. It's not looking good, Brev. It's not looking good. Southampton 4 points off of Everton and Forest respectively. It very, very well could be the end of the road for the Saints and the Lions, or the Foxes rather. The Foxes. I got nicknames. Anyway.
How are you confusing Leicester with Millwall? Jesus.
I don't know. They're both terrible. They both wear blue. Baller of the week. Welcome back, Burnley. Vincent Kompany. He's at Burnley. Gets their automatic promotion. They return instantly after a season out of the Premier League, and they are back up. The Championship title still up for grabs, though, but European? Bloody hell! I'm having a mare.
No, that's a
Automatic.
single offence. The host has lost his marbles.
Hey! It's not as bad as Madi Osane. It's still not as bad as that.
It's close.
Burnley back in the Premier League. Well done to them. Vincent Kompany will be a Premier League manager, and obviously will come up against Pep Guardiola's Manchester City next season. Going to be a very, very big welcoming home for the Belgian there. Brick of the week. Stuart Atwell, you are the weakest link. Absolute nightmare he had at the Spurs game. So yeah, there's a fair few contenders for baller and bricks of the week here, but we decided to go with these ones here.
This is what I'm saying. If the people can see the comment section right now, I know Nicky's trying to be impartial by picking Burnley, and fair play to them for getting promoted with 7 games to spare. But a certain French winger broke a new record, and man picks a team that's known for playing Brexit ball. Wow.
My show, my rules.
Oh, look at him. Look at that.
No. But good comment here. Company plays good football and has made Burnley a real force. Sacked by February with Burnley in 19th.
Yeah, change February to November, and that's more accurate, James.
Huge. I think that's James speaking as a Palace fan. Atwell did nothing wrong.
Facts.
Hey,
he's right.
I have to be unbiased.
Did nothing wrong. Facts.
I have to be as unbiased as possible here on the Premier League.
No, facts. He did nothing wrong. He did his job. Facts.
Right.
Facts. I'm shameless. I'll say it. Fact. He did nothing wrong. James,
right.
You're dead right.
I will say this. Leeds, hurry up and go extinct because you're terrible. And as for the fans, right. As for that one clip, right. My club's going to be playing Premier League football next season. Yours is not. We are going to be hitting heights that we've never seen before because we're going to be celebrating 10 years in the Premier League. You're not. We sacked a manager because he was just terrible. You lot sacked a manager because he knelt down too much.
They sacked you.
They sacked. Yeah, you've gone through more managers than near enough. Then you're starting to become like Chelsea.
No, bro. The analogy there is they've gone through more managers than a guy goes through man. Put it that way.
And also, seeing as though you want to clip me, clip this. The color of my hair is better. Is more better? That's not even a word. Let's just say this. Let's just end it on this. Rafinha ran from you lot like you lot are running away from the Premier League. We ran you out of your own ground because I'm sorry. Did I even see any Leeds fans when the final whistle went? I thought they'd all gone. I'm going to
say this. You see that their alleged great home support, they're the best support in the league and all of that.
Since when?
20 minutes to go, I was seeing fire drill settings. Fire drill settings, bro. What happened? Did somebody pull the sprinklers or something? That's embarrassing. Don't get me wrong. I understand why fans left. Fans pay their money to watch their team. If their team are doing crap, they've every right to leave. But it wasn't just a trickle of fans. It was a max exodus. You could have sworn it was Moses leading the slaves out of Egypt. It was you. These Leeds fans need to hold an L, hold some corn, and more importantly, enjoy playing Luton next season in the Championship. Oh, and Peterborough United and them, man. Let us know how London Road is nowadays, yeah? Because we ain't seeing these dead grounds for time. But you Leeds fans, you're going back to where you belong. Back to the doldrums of Mordor and all these other places like that. So hold that.
Oh dear me. So in short, Leeds, it's gone past 8 o'clock. Leeds, you're an absolute travesty. You're shit and no one likes you. You are the Millwall of the Premier League. Enjoy that. You are the Millwall of the Premier League. How's that feel? So, Nate, where can everybody find you on your socials?
You can find me, Nate Ide, on Twitter. You can also find me on Instagram and all of that. But you'll mostly see me here moving reckless, moving mad, and catching a whole heap of heat on Eagle-Eyed Football. And look at this. Between Henry and James, you can't even have a joke without them actually believing a word you're saying. I'm firmly aware Luton might go up, but then again, they might not. And as for Peterborough, I don't care if they don't make the Championship, James. The point is that Leeds will be playing dead teams like that. Kids these days, Nicky, you can't make a point without them not running with it. You know, they're not following what's going on. Just
oh dear.
You know. But you can find me talking a whole heap of ish on Eagle-Eyed Football. That is if I'm not working on ungodly hours now on my new job. But more importantly, he's Nicky. I'm Nate. This is the Premier League review show. And
am I not shouting out my own socials?
Leeds are dead food.
Am I not shouting out my own social media now? I'm not happy to end the show there if you want.
No, you work away, but
I'll let you. Right, guys, quickly, you can follow me at Selhurst Saint on Twitter, Saint of Selhurst on Instagram, and Saint of Selhurst Twitch, as it says down below. I'm not going to point because every single time I point, I get it wrong, and I get cooked for it. I was supposed to do
cooked on Eagle-Eyed Football. Never.
Me? No, never. Me? Getting clipped? No, surely not. Never.
Can we just bring this up quickly before we go? Because I think this is beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
They tried to get VAR involved twice for perfectly good goals. The first one, never offside.
Yeah.
The second one, never offside.
Like we were played onside for that second goal.
Their old brick dead food defenders.
Oh dear! I think
it was a case of the Leeds defence. You had eaten too much chocolate and too much Morley's the night before because they looked like they'd been eating too much the night before. They were just all over the shop.
Yeah, I think it's a question of James, never change, James, absolute hero. I think it's a question of the Lily Whites need to when they saw Palace coming over the hill, I think there was certainly a case of let's trade in our white kits for a bunch of brown kits because they need to change their colours. Right, guys, thank you ever so much for joining Nate and I for this great, hilarious show. We'll be back next week with more games, and hopefully we'll be still smiling because Palace will beat Southampton. Fingers crossed. Anyway, we will see you soon. That is us here and out.
Follow us on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all of it.
And like, share, and subscribe. Please subscribe.
See you later, folks. Up the Palace.
Questions to ask, right? A campaign with the confidence rising. I told WDF don't switch, good times are coming on even deep diving. Fan cams, reactions, watch along, still the pride of London thriving. The Eagles of South, they flying. Keep your eyes on us, we ain't hiding.